So I'm going to introduce Dr. Peter from Prestariang, Malaysia, who's talking about Cybersecurity Employability Revolution. Catch me if you can, Bob Thomas the Creeper. That's the entire title of his talk. So let me give you a brief introduction about Dr. Peter. So Dr. Peter contributes to the success for the implementation of various national projects through his role as change management team leader at Prestariang. He brings with him 20 years of experience in driving significant change management as well as IT projects for various government agencies, including the ministries. His strong change management background includes providing strategic consultation, training, and lectures to government agencies for almost 10 years. Dr. Lee has also been awarded with various prestige Prime Minister Innovation Awards for his substantial contribution to the National IT Landmark Projects. With that, I'm going to hand the stage over to you, Dr. Peter. On behalf of Rocheston and the Reinvent team, welcome, and we look forward to hearing your views.
Right. Thank you, Aditya, and thank you to all the organizers for effectively arranging all this session with us. And also, and thank you for the kind words with regards to the introduction. So basically, I just want to a quick introduction to what I do and how I ended up in this topic. Just to be very, very frank, I'm no cybersecurity expert here. However, I look into talent search as well as talent and training development in terms of from cybersecurity up to various IT related, especially on the IR 4.0 talent that people are looking for. So what I'm sharing with you today, basically, just hold on, I will just share my slides. So can you all see my slide now? Okay, so basically, yeah. Sorry?
We can't see your slide. We can't see your slide.
You can't see my slide. Oops. Okay, let me check. Share your entire screen. I have already done share. Okay. How about now?
Yep, now I can see. Yeah.
Okay. So, right, I think basically what I'm touching on is more of this whole cybersecurity employability revolution and what people are looking for, what kind of skill set that people are looking for. No doubt, in this event and in this time, cybersecurity seems to be a very sexy employment that everybody is looking at. But the thing is why there are still so many cybersecurity certified people has not been employed. It's not they are choosy, but I think there's something still missing. So that's why I'm touching on a revolution and I'm just catching on some of the part where Bob Thomas has actually says that, catch me if you can. If I think all the cybersecurity expert would know what is it all about. Let me touch a bit on the cybersecurity revolution in terms of from it all started in 1971, correct me if I'm wrong, until the present, and what has exactly changed, right? And how does the current cybersecurity workforce landscape looks like? And also in terms of employers, what kind of skills that these people are looking for, basically, right? And then also that the employees' skills that is required in order for you to safely, what we say is safely land in a job, as well as maintain in that particular job and stay relevant, for the matter of fact. So I think in terms of cybersecurity revolution is concerned, what we were seeing it was in 1971 when I read the history and things like that, it actually says that it just started with a simple graffiti, right? And just putting a message saying that catch me if you can by this Bob Thomas, right? And this is actually what we call as a first worm. And it has actually has ever changed. I mean, the evolution has changed into, like we were seeing now, the figures of around 500,000 of malwares is actually produced every day in 2014. And the thing is, like, they just couldn't simply write any signature solution that is actually fast enough to keep up to the problems that they are facing. So what we are saying, that the cybersecurity, which has coined by Dan Lohman, they were saying that it is a cybersecurity pandemic coming, or is it like we call it as a cyber Pearl Harbor, all right? Or even they call it as cyber 9/11. That means like there's something which is quite catastrophic that is coming in terms of the cybersecurity is concerned. Why? What has changed? Basically, when we see that, you can imagine that in 2018, it's just half a year. In 6 months, we are actually seeing 20 billion threats. We are looking at it's actually cybercrime industry now has actually become 1 trillion industry, and the cyberware is actually warfare is actually affecting more than 100 nations, right? So let's look at what is happening in Asia Pacific per se, right? In the Asian, that you see that the internet penetration has like it has already increased like exponentially, right? It has like the cyber attacks and the data breach can actually rank as a 4th and the 5th global risk, okay, in the world. And the cybercrime businesses, yeah, is over the next 5 years, it has actually comes to 8 trillion, right? So forget about what is written all there, but these are some of the words that the points that actually have been picked up. So cyber attacks are growing, but the talent pool defenders are not keeping at pace. If you look at how the whole cybersecurity workforce opportunity, you see that Asia Pacific itself has actually takes about 64% of the whole thing, that amounting to 2.6 million of security workforce. Yeah, there's so many opportunities. And in Malaysia, we are seeing that employability rate for cybersecurity is like, it has increased 300%, means 3-fold has been increased. And some can even land in 2 to 3 jobs as offers in cybersecurity professional, right? This is actually a source from Asia Pacific. And you see that World Economic Forum, the job landscape in 2022, like in 2 years to come, and if you look at it, like the top 10 emerging workforce, if you look roles, you see the 1 to 10, but to your surprise, you do not see cybersecurity, right? Okay. So where is this cybersecurity? Since that there's talked so much, they're saying that there's so many threats, there's so many jobs available and things like that. But you see that when they look at the World Economic Forum, they actually says that there's no role for cybersecurity, right? The actual fact is like cybersecurity has become a basic requirement, okay, within this whole within these 10 emerging jobs, right? It is still skyrocketing, but imagine that every employers are actually looking at like, do you have any basic skills in cybersecurity, or if you know something about cybersecurity, or how you practice cybersecurity in your own setup or in your previous workplace, right? So they are actually looking at like the applicants who possess the needed skills as well as experience, okay, that has basically cybersecurity is the basic thumbprint for your passport, or is it actually a passport for you actually to look to get a job that is related to that top 10 emerging jobs. So therefore, if you look at it, employers are getting greedy, employers are getting very demanding, employers are getting a lot of requests, okay, in order for you to land in a job, because they are looking for experience, they are looking for your education, they are looking for your competency, and they are looking for your mindset. And I would like to stress here is like what mindset that you're looking at is actually the agile mindset that we are looking at. And of course, that is an industry certification. So things like industry, the certification that is a long due and things like that, it's time for you guys to actually to have a better or the more recent industry certification that looks more, that actually relates more to a futuristic proof, and also to look more into more on the IR, the IR 4.0 perspective kind of cybersecurity. No longer people, I don't think people will still look at like server hacking and things like that. They are looking into cloud, they are looking into robotics, they are looking into IoT and kind of things like that. So even like training people, training people is like is no longer like like server based things like that. Is boring and all this. Like in another maybe 3 to 5 years to come, I would say that servers don't even exist, right? So as far as the employer looking for, yes, tech capabilities, as far as they are concerned, it can be taught. What they are looking for is actually the hard skills to the soft skills. They are people looking for skills that you never understood, that you think that you have all the digital badges, all the certificate in cybersecurity courses under your belt, but without the skills like quality communications, without the skills like creative problem solving, and without the skills of reliability. Imagine that you're doing cybersecurity and they find that you are not reliable, and when they, like especially during the interview, this cybersecurity expert, okay, they will look into your eyes, and if your eyes keep rolling all over the place and like you're not focusing and things like that, okay, you are out of the, there you go, out of the interview room, and they'll say thank you very much, okay, find another job. Right? So that your chance of obtaining a job in the industry is way far from between, right? So that's what I'm saying. That I'm not saying cybersecurity certification is not important, but you must come together with skills, right? Like which are the soft skills, like how you're going to communicate people, whether you are, during stressful moment, during the attack of cybersecurity and things like that, and if you cannot communicate clear enough, and you get so worked out, and like you cannot give instructions, that's where you will be gone. So that's what people are looking for. Now, just to run through, forget about all the words and things like that. Okay, just to run through that, these are some of the additional skills, mandatory skills that employers are actually looking for, or even industries are looking for, right? You see nowadays, like you don't bring problems to the bosses and things like that. You must come with a solution, right? So you need to have, understand the problem. You need to have skills that actually how to solve it, or options to solve it, so that you will allow your bosses to understand the problems, and that these are the few options of solutions that you need to offer, right? And what would be the best options that you have in mind, right? And you need to really communicate. Okay, I'm not just talking about whether you are good at talking and you are good at things like that. Writing is one thing, and most of the time, what people has forgotten is like listening, right? Listening skills. So during the interview and things like that, when you are going for that, when the interviewer are talking and all this, please listen, right? Listen carefully, right? And then if you need to write down some notes or points or things like that, yes, you write it on it, and then think first before you actually answer to the questions. Because most of the time, I understand when you go on the interview, people, you get so tensed up, you get so stressed up. So what happened was that you tend to like, and you'll be happy that you say, hey, I know this answer. And before the interviewer finished talking, you're already answering the question. There's nothing to show off about. Okay, that is something that some of these soft skills will need to be taken care of. Certification, yes, is an important factor, but it's not going to land you a job, okay, on their own, right? You have to earn it, okay, with all these skills that comes together with it. right? Ethical standards, yes, you need to, right? It's like they need to look at your personality, right? They need to see that you are reliable, you are trustworthy in the first place, and then there is the same skills as a black hat hackers. You guys may be a white hat hacker, so you also have to have that thoughts of like understand how hackers behave, think, and also how hackers and how they actually maneuver things, right? So that you can actually preempt that kind of attitude or skills, right? Hackers mindset, yes, you must think like a hacker, right? They will talk to you that, you know, like I have like an experience with one of the major bank, okay, who actually does this interview, and then we have one whole big batch of cybersecurity who have just passed their exam, and then we send like 50 of them, and like they were saying that, guys, please, right, you have to think like a hacker mindset. And my what do you call it, clue to you is like, please, whatever question I gave you, do not Google. Yet there will be some people who Googles and things like that and find the answer, right? And already tell you, and then straight you're not going to clear the whole interview. Not even the interview yet, it's just the test, right? So you need to have to understand, like you know, these people already, they are the hacker. They already told you don't do that, but you're still doing it, right? And lifelong learner, okay, so as what I'm saying, for me, I believe in something like I believe in something like it's a continuous learning thing, right? And as I mentioned before just now, there's so many things that happening, so many changes. What the evolution, I wouldn't even call the evolution, it's actually more of a revolution, that like malware can change within seconds, right? So you need to learn. You cannot be comfortable in whatever you learn now, and then you think that you can handle whatever threats that is actually is coming to that particular organization. So 5 days or 2 weeks learning of physical classes, if you think that you can come out as an expert, as a cybersecurity officer, no way, right? And that's why we actually would look at into like whether 6 months, whether there's any support, whether there's any mentorship, whether there's any you know, those courses that will actually guide you on as on the job learning. That is something that is that I would be excited about, to put my students or people who are supposed to or my candidates, okay, for this kind of a training, right? 6 months, 1 year at least. Otherwise, I can tell you that 75% of them will actually just go MIA, missing in action, because they could not cope. The second thing is like they will not align, and third thing is like they just don't know what they are going into this particular job. All right. So important thing is that lastly is like it's a relevant experience. Yeah. So you need to have the cybersecurity experience. I do not have any cybersecurity experience before, but you have to learn, right? Whether you go online, whether you go on Google, or you learn the wrong thing and all this, but learning wrong thing is good, because like you know that it's a wrong thing to learn. Yeah, but the important thing is like you need to understand, right? What is cybersecurity? You need to speak intelligently, right? And also like as far as the cybersecurity is concerned, right? It's not going to just stay as cybersecurity like the word, right? It will change, right? And you say like in Avengers and things like that, like a mistake, it's just change whenever it needs, right? There's so many of them are in the market now, global. As I said, it is already become like an industry to hack. Okay, so be ready. We have 5 popular cybersecurity future skills that look into it. But when I list it down again, I said don't look at those small little words. What I'm saying is like you need to have the skills, like to understand how you report an incident, right? What are the ways, how you're going to manage the incident, and how you respond to the activity. You need to write some sort of understand the standard operating procedure. What are the best practices in incidents report, right? Because most of the time, many organizations are looking for the skills as such like this, because a lot of the government departments actually outsource some of this incident handling, like you said, like telco and people like that, right? And you need to have some security tool experts, yeah, then how to use those tools, how do you play with those tools, and you should be interested in playing with those tools, right? The toys, I would say, right? And project management, you think that, hey, I'm a cybersecurity guy, and why should I be knowing about project management? Like it or not, okay, cybersecurity is a project by itself, right? You need to manage it. You need to see that what does the project manager talk about, or you yourself sometimes, like me at times, I need to project manage, okay, certain things and so forth, right? And security analysis, right? You need to see that how the slightest means of sensitivity in terms of the skills that something is coming to you and things like that. You should not be waiting. You should be preemptive, have that attitude of preempt, right? That something is not right, some threats is coming in and things like that, and it'll be very, very, very timid over that kind of skills. Yeah. Soft skills, of course, analytical thinking, critical, you need to analyze certain things. Okay, you need to be critical about it. Okay, and of course, these are the things that, most of the time, cybersecurity officer will tell me that, yeah, I'm an introvert guy and I don't talk much and all this and so forth. It's not going to land you anyway further, because all you will do is most of the time you'll be sitting behind the screen and you'll be just looking and waiting for some attacks to come in, and that is something that you probably will not enjoy, okay, doing, okay. And what we will be able to see that how to make cybersecurity officer the excitement kind of a thing is, right? You always have to anticipate that something is coming. You always have to anticipate that how I'm going to defend it, and you always have to anticipate that how I'm going to manage it if this incident is happening and things like that. And this, if you can actually answer all these things, and you can actually have that kind of a passion and have that kind of an expression to your interview, to the interviewer or the employer, I'm sure you will land up in a job. Okay. So basically, lastly, I'll just have to say that as far as your career is concerned, it is your responsibility, right? Skill up your role, analyze your skill set, right? And also identify how to stay relevant and grow. Understand the future role that will accelerate your career growth, right? And start on learning journey, okay, to fulfill those roles and whatever comes. So don't be complacent. Don't be happy that you already got your certification and things like that, because that is not, again, I'm just stress here, is not going to land you in a job. Okay. So basically, success is a journey, right? It's no longer a destiny. Right, for your information, I'm a medical doctor, okay, who landed up in the digital world and things like that. I'm still learning, right? I still treat patients, but at the same time, this is something that is actually very, very interesting, and it will be a continuous learning. So if you can get a doctor to speak on all these cybersecurity thingy and talent and things like that and whatever, right? I'm sure that you can. But remember, it is a journey. Okay. So thank you for that is my last slide. So in case I have another 8 minutes for any question and answers. Yeah. Okay, Aditya, back to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much for that very insightful session on the basic skills and knowledge that people have to employ when they want to enter the field of cybersecurity. Some important points you mentioned were especially the importance of listening and the development of soft skills. These two will definitely help you when you start applying for jobs in cybersecurity, because you need to be able to define a problem and put it across and solve a problem with how you communicate, right? And the importance of an all-round skill, not focusing on just, like as you said, server networking, administration, and all of that, because the landscape is changing. So thank you so much. And I would ask the audience and our participants to ask Peter any questions regarding cybersecurity employability and the skills required for a future in cybersecurity. Any questions?
They all probably got a job already, so I don't think there's any question.
They all like your tips. I don't. Okay, so they're all saying very good tips, very good information.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Doctor. Okay, so Peter, thank you so much for your time and your valuable inputs on cybersecurity skills and knowledge required for entering the field. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aditya. Thanks, everybody.
There is one question. Sorry, Peter. There is one question. So, how do you gain experience if you've never had any hands-on, or how does someone who wants to get into the cybersecurity field gain experience in cybersecurity if they never had any hands-on experience in the field?
Right. I think the important thing is like you need to go. I mean, like I'm telling you one thing. In the internet is like is extremely accessible now, right? I think you go to Google and things like that. You can actually learn certain things through there. But if you want to learn about like skills and hands-on and all, you need to tag on with some of your, get a job first, and then tag on with some of the mentors and or the seniors and things like that. You cannot be doing cybersecurity if you don't have anybody there. But what I'm saying is like for me, if you want me to judge you or to employ you and things like that, right? You need to have that the conscience on cybersecurity, right? That means like a simple thing is like, you know, do you lock out your screen when you are not on the table on your laptop and with your laptop, or do you actually like you know, share your banking slips and things like that to people through WhatsApps, right? If you think that, if you say that yes, I share anything in WhatsApp, I share picture, I share my bank account number and those, like, oh my God. So do you think that I will hire you? No. Right? Or do you, so basically it is something like, let's to get a job into a job, I'm just saying that you may have the certificate, but you will be tested on that. You will be actually look into like how conscious are you in terms of like the cybersecurity perspective on your personal level, right? If I think that you are timid and I think that yes, I will maybe, you know, I will share my account number, but I will strike off the number or things like that or whatever, and you will ensure that you will you know, you will not share on the public you know, domain and things like that, then I would say that yes, you are quite you are up for the cybersecurity. The second thing is like last thing I would just want to point is like it's good that there are a lot of profiling tools out there, right, which is free, right? Like profiling, like you can go to VIP24, you can actually go on to some of the competency framework, things like that, that you can actually gauge yourself that whether you are the person for cybersecurity and things like that, right? So don't think that, yeah, I need to learn on the technical part and things like that. One, you have to have that character, you have to have that personality, you have to have that personal interest and values the cyber security thingy, right? And then from there you will actually go in and learn certain things, and from there, if you already get the job, yes, get a mentor to actually tag along and acquire their skills. Yeah. Do I answer to your question?
Thank you, Peter. We have one more question. So when virtualization became hot, jobs were quickly available.
When
virtualization became hot, jobs were very quickly available. Why is this different from cybersecurity? So what they're trying to say is cybersecurity jobs are not as freely and easily available as they were when virtualization was first introduced.
Yes, definitely, because that's what I'm pointing out. Because like when you talk about like cybersecurity, you think that everybody is talking about like yes, it's a sexy job to go into because like everybody is acquiring this particular job and is available like in the market and in the hypermarket and things like that. You can just buy cybersecurity. In actual fact, the screening process is actually extremely stringent, to be very frank with you, right? Because like you're talking about security, you're talking about in case like if bank and things like that, they don't actually pick any Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? They need to have some form of like a character to assure that you are trustworthy, you are actually resilient. So that's why things like for the job, once you enter, it is easy, but the screening process is going to be really, really tough, right? So that's why in actual fact you think that yes, it is available all over the place and virtually and things like that, and especially now post-COVID with the new norm and things like that, the internet penetration, the virtualization, and all this web thingy and all this is like it's actually it just burst, right? To an extreme level. We need cybersecurity people, but you still see that cybersecurity certificate people are running around because like one thing, you have the certificate, I'm saying, but the second thing is like, do you have that quality? Do you have that attitude? And also, do you actually have that skills is available? Skills, I'm saying that is the most trend skills that I'm talking about. Okay, is the most trend. When people ask you about blockchain and things like that, and if you cannot answer properly, we know that something is not right, right? And like that's your certification that you got, through a certain certified body and all these things. You will not be able to have that hands-on, and I know that your skills are not up to that what we want. Because everybody is going to cloud, everybody is talking about blockchain, right, and things like that. So you need to relate those things together, right, with cybersecurity, right? You cannot talk about server and the health of the server running slow, and and that's where something is not right. No, people don't talk that anymore. Yeah, people do not talk that anymore. Okay. I hope I answered to your question. Yeah.
Yes, Peter. So thank you so much. I think we are run out of time now. We're going to go into a lunch break. So thank you so much, Peter, for your insights and for answering the questions with such information and in depth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye.